You ever have one of those days where a single comment, maybe just a few words, completely knocks you off your game? Well, today we're going to talk about something I like to call the alchemy of criticism, a framework for taking those really tough moments and, believe it or not, turning them into pure gold for your own growth. Let's dive in.
So let's start with a feeling we all know, right? That moment, maybe you're in a meeting or you're talking to a friend and someone gives you a little feedback. And instantly your stomach drops, your heart starts pounding. I mean, they're just words. So why do they have such a real, physical power over us?
Well, the answer is actually baked into our DNA. See, for our ancient ancestors, being pushed out of the tribe, social rejection, that could literally be a death sentence. So when we hear criticism today, our brain doesn't just hear words. It sounds a primal alarm, that same fight or flight response you'd get from a real physical threat. So you're not overreacting. You're just human. It's an old instinct kicking in.
Okay, so for our first section, let's really dig into this initial reaction. We're going to look at the sheer weight of these words and try to understand why our gut reaction is so often pain and defensiveness. But what if we could reframe that whole experience? This is the big idea for today. Think about criticism not as a weapon aimed at you, but more like raw, unrefined ore. You know, it's heavy, it's messy, it's not pretty to look at, but hidden somewhere inside is something incredibly valuable. Our job is to become the alchemist who knows how to find it.
So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, it doesn't start with some fancy technique. It starts with a fundamental shift in how we think. We need to adopt what we're going to call the alchemist's mindset.
And honestly, this is the choice we all face in that moment. The default reaction, what we're calling the lead state, is to get defensive, right? To get angry or to just completely shut down. But the alchemical approach, the gold state, is to consciously, and this is the key word, consciously, replace that defensiveness with curiosity, to replace anger with sorting. It's this critical pivot from protecting our ego to actually improving ourselves. So here it is, plain and simple. The alchemist mindset is a choice you make. It's the decision to see feedback not as some final judgment on who you are, but just as data. That's it. It's just information you can use for your own growth. And I'm telling you, that single mental shift, that's the key that unlocks this entire process.
All right, a mindset is a great starting point, but we need a practical method, right? Something we can actually do. And that's where the 4-step formula comes in. This is the actionable process for turning that raw ore into shiny, useful gold.
And it is so important to remember this. This is not magic. It's not a personality trait you're born with. This transformation is a skill. It is a repeatable process, just like learning an instrument or a sport. You can absolutely get better at it with practice.
Okay, here it is, the 4 steps. Step 1, receive the ore. This is the hardest part. You just listen. No defending, no explaining, no arguing. Your only job is to fully understand what they are saying. That's it. Step 2, filter the noise. Okay, now you can start processing. You need to separate the useful data from how it was delivered. Maybe the person was angry or clumsy with their words. Your job is to find the signal in all that noise. Step 3, find the nugget. You don't have to agree with everything they said. Just look for one small piece of truth, one tiny actionable insight. And finally, step 4, refine the gold. You take that one little nugget and you turn it into a concrete plan. You ask yourself, okay, what is one small thing I can do differently because of this?
So, you've gone through the process, you've done the work. What's the real reward? Now we get to the best part, actually extracting that gold and looking at the incredible benefits you get from all this. And this right here is the real prize. When you master this, you get so much more self-aware and your skills just develop way faster. You actually build stronger relationships because people see that you're secure enough to listen and learn. And your confidence, it goes through the roof because criticism isn't a threat anymore. It becomes your personal superpower, the ability to find a lesson and grow from literally any conversation, no matter how difficult it is. Okay, so let's bring this all home. We're going to move away from the theory and talk about your real life right now and the very next piece of feedback you're going to get. Look, feedback is coming. It's inevitable. It might be later today, might be next week. The only thing we don't know is what you're going to choose to do with it. Are you going to react with lead? Or are you going to practice a little alchemy? So the real question isn't if you'll get to use this, but when. What piece of feedback, what raw ore are you going to transform first?